location of a new winter warm-up building under scrutiny. Why concerns are being raised. Taking aim at a program in the healthcare system, what the SHA is doing to improve the problems that plagued it. And taking the trick out of trick-or-treating, a few timely reminders this Halloween.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. The location of a new winter warm-up building was the source of debate at council chambers this week. As Keenan Sorokon reports, business owners, councillors, and city administration are concerned about concentrating services in Riversdale.
We have spoken, and you are not listening.
Residents and business owners in Riversdale are growing tired of more social services being put in their community.
Instead, you push ahead and do what you want, which comes across as sneaky and underhanded.
The latest is a warm-up location at this former restaurant on Avenue C. Council approved the city to buy. The main concern is it being steps away from the Salvation Army's shelter next door, and administration recommending the purchase is also uneasy about it. But there simply wasn't any other choice after 2 years of searching.
To have a full-time enhanced shelter right next door to a warming center, I just think is a bad idea.
This building, definitely the location was a concern for us going in, and remains a concern and will be something that needs to be addressed.
The councillor for the area says calls from his residents are growing louder, and it's time to decentralize social services away from the 20th Street corridor. But most of council was opposed to the idea.
So adding this location on Avenue C is just something that I'm very much concerned.
I think we need to put the services people need in an area where they are and where there's dense populations of people who will use those.
Ward 3 Councillor Robert Pierce says this needs to be looked at as a city issue and not a west side only problem.
We do know there's homeless on the east side of the city. We know they don't want to cross the river. And yet, what are we doing for them?
Federal funding is being used to buy the building for over $800,000 with plans to be open by the end of November. The province will then choose who will operate the 24/7 warm-up center. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Meanwhile, the Salvation Army says with all the efforts to help homeless people in Saskatoon, one key piece is missing. Major Gordon Taylor says all 3 shelters operating in Saskatoon are enhanced shelters, and there's a greater need for a basic shelter. A basic shelter would operate at night and be a place for someone to stay for one night. They can come back each night, but the shelter would stay closed for the day. An enhanced shelter has to provide 3 meals a day and requires the person to participate in case planning to get a home. Taylor says many aren't ready for that.
It's a jump from rough sleeping to having to participate in an enhanced shelter expectation. I think a basic shelter would help some people move towards that and be prepared for that.
As the city explores building a centralized hub of social services, Taylor feels the city should include a basic shelter as part of the plan. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says while it's stopping the use of the AIMS computer system for employee scheduling, most of the system is functioning properly. But some healthcare workers disagree, saying there are still significant issues. CTV's Stacey Hine has that story.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority is scrapping its new computer program for employee scheduling, but says the rest of the system is still working and will stay in use.
I'm confident that the solution we have in the phase 1 component of AIMS will meet our needs. We will need to continuously improve our process as we go forward.
The Administrative Information Management System, known as AIMS, was supposed to replace 80 separate systems with one platform for payroll, supply chain, and scheduling across the health system. The SHA says the program remains stable for payroll and supply chain functions, but some healthcare workers disagree. Cindy Landry, an LPN in North Battleford, says getting supplies such as syringes or needles has become a struggle.
As well as a frontline worker, there are times with the AIMS program I don't have my basic supplies. I don't have a catheter induction kit to give somebody, put a catheter in safely.
The SEIU West president says the system lacks a backorder function. So when an item is out of stock, it disappears from the order list.
So when they do get that in stock and my unit still needs that, or I still need that as a worker, it doesn't show up that I ever ordered it.
The province says pulling back from the scheduling component will free up resources to fix other issues.
As we've pulled back from this time validation and scheduling piece, that means there's more resources on the AIMS team to address other issues that may come up in the system more quickly.
The original cost of the project was expected to be $86 million. 3S Health, a partner in the AIMS project, says the total cost of the system has now reached $272 million as of August. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority is introducing a new notification process for emergency services disruptions. The updated process is meant to provide accurate, reliable information about the availability of emergency services around the province. Beginning in early November, all emergency service disruptions, regardless of length, will be posted on the SHA website, updated at 4 p.m. 7 days a week. The current system only notifies the public about disruptions of 7 days or more. The SHA says it acknowledges the frustration from patients and communities about the current reporting process. It hopes the changes will make information consistently available to the public while services affected by disruptions can be restored. Well, Jeff, I think we can call today a crumb bum day.
I think that fits the definition. It meets all the parameters, all the check boxes. Yes, it was crumb bum. It was gray. It was drizzly. It was rainy. It was windy. We had a little bit of snow this morning. Ugh. So anyhow, let's move along. And we do have that system moving out. You can certainly see that telltale sign of that counterclockwise movement around the low pressure area. That is moving out into the Dakotas, parts of the American Midwest, still impacting Manitoba. But in behind it, not so much a high pressure area, but an absence of another low. So we will see a bit of a calming situation. And as we make our way towards Saturday, temperatures are on the rise. Tomorrow, Halloween's going to be a bit cool. We'll talk about that later.
The trial for a man accused of killing a 19-year-old man in 2006 at a party in southern Saskatchewan heard from someone at the gathering who was dating the victim's ex-girlfriend. And as Sierra D'Souza Butts explains, the witness was once deemed a potential suspect in the killing.
A man who was in a physical altercation with Misha Pavlik the night he died in May of 2006, taking the stand here at Court of King's Bench during the second-degree murder trial of the man accused of killing him. Jury members hearing from Andrew Perkins testifying he was allegedly hit with a glass bottle twice at a graduation party on May 21st, 2006 near Last Mountain Lake. Perkins was dating Pavlik's former girlfriend at the time. Telling the Crown he remembers seeing Pavlik hit him with a glass bottle while standing near the bonfire. After falling to the ground, Perkins says he remembers getting up and starting to punch and kick Pavlik. Once the fight stopped, he proceeded to go look for his hat, then was hit by a bottle again, but says he could not remember who hit him. Through cross-examination, the defense said Perkins was considered a suspect by RCMP until 2021, which Perkins confirmed. Perkins said he knew the accused through his friend Scott Nelson, who had previously pleaded guilty to stabbing another man that same night. Nelson also testifying earlier in the trial. During opening statements, the Crown told the jury they will not hear witnesses say they saw the accused directly stab Pavlik, adding, from the testimony of around 50 witnesses, the jury will hear that the accused admitted to the offense at the time of the incident. The Crown's opening remarks is not evidence itself in the trial, which will continue here at Court of King's Bench on Friday. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Premier Scott Moe is urging Ottawa to pressure the Indian government after it implemented new tariffs on yellow peas. He says the move threatens a key market for Saskatchewan producers. In a letter to the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Minister of International Trade, Moe called India's tariff announcement very concerning. He expressed the need for Saskatchewan producers and exporters to have certainty as the province still deals with Chinese tariffs on canola products. Collectively, the Indian and Chinese markets made up 71% of Saskatchewan's pea exports last year, with $480 million shipped to India.
It wasn't long ago we actually had been talking to the High Commissioner of India and hadn't really given an indication
However, we have seen this before, so this is not entirely new to us, to the PE industry, to Canada. There's a number of issues at play with the Indian government there, so unfortunately, we have dealt with this before.
Members of the Ministry of Trade and Export Development will be in India next week. The tariffs come as harvest in the province is nearing completion with 99% of crops in the bin. The province says yields and quality are above average this year, but more rain and snow is needed to restore soil moisture before the spring. The provincial government has introduced its bill to amend its liquor regulations to allow tailgating at Rough Rider home games. Wayne Mantika lays out the legislation.
Tailgating has been popular with fans at many CFL stadiums. Now the Saskatchewan government has introduced legislation to allow for tailgate parties outside Rider games.
Because what that's going to do is allow us to work with the riders, with the City of Regina, with the City Police to determine what this is going to look like.
The regulations have yet to be worked out with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, but the plan calls for tailgating to be allowed in a fenced-off area near the stadium. There would be a charge to park there, with fans allowed to bring their own liquor and food.
But what we're looking at here is something a little bit different, with the potential for people to potentially bring their own alcohol. Hence, we approached the provincial government with that option and started down this road with them.
The team expects a similar experience to what fans enjoy at football games elsewhere in Canada and the U.S.
Seeing the green out there already having fun, seeing them hydrating with Gatorades, getting ready to get loud, man, that'll be fun. Coming in, it's a different atmosphere driving into this place. Both sides of the street, you see jerseys, you see barbecue grills going, you see kids throwing the football. Looking forward to that.
For 2026, tailgating will only take place outside Rider home games. That will set the standard and allow for possible future expansion to other sporting events in the province. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
SGI is warning drivers to be careful. It says crashes involving wildlife increase during the fall months. Jasmine Pelche spoke with the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation to find out why and got some tips on how drivers can stay safe on the roads.
Deer species are more active during the fall months. What does that mean for Saskatchewan drivers?
Mule deer, white-tailed deer, elk, and moose, the fall is prime time for them. It's all reproductive seasons for those animals. So those ones we tend to run into most, having issues with wildlife collisions at this time of year.
It's not just the reproductive season that makes collisions more likely. Deer species are more active at dusk and dawn. As the days get shorter, there is more wildlife activity earlier in the evening. The Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation is encouraging drivers to take extra precautions.
Things you could do, if you can avoid traveling at that time of day, that'd be great. Travel earlier in the day when you have some more light. The other option would be if you have to travel at that time, slow down. Use your headlights. Make sure you're looking along the roadways. If you do see an animal cross, deer, for example, chances are there's going to be others that will follow.
SGI says that data shows an increase in wildlife collisions during the fall season. October and November are the only months of the year where more than 1,000 wildlife-related collisions are reported on average.
Some of the things people can do if they hit a deer is just don't approach the animal, especially if it appears to be wounded. Injured animals, they can be extremely dangerous, so take precautions. If possible, after you've hit that vehicle, move over to the shoulder of the road, turn on your hazard lights, and really just take a moment to regain your composure.
There were more than 9,000 wildlife-related collisions in the province in 2024. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Halloween is, of course, tomorrow, and while it's a night for fun and treats, parents and their children are reminded to take extra precautions so they can have a happy Halloween. Damian Smith with some timely tips.
Halloween is one of the most celebrated holidays every year, and on Friday, trick-or-treaters will be hopping from door to door.
Have your eyes wide open in terms of looking for little ghosts and goblins out there.
Acting Regina Police Chief Laura Lee Davies suggests that trick-or-treaters wear bright, reflective costumes or have shiny accessories to stick out to motorists. But to limit the possibility of collision, she cautions drivers to be extra alert and slow down during those peak trick-or-treating hours.
and just be really mindful about pedestrians. They might not be using the crosswalks, and so, we don't want any sort of Halloween tragedy. So just for all motorists, just to be extra alert and take that little bit extra time.
While most kids are out right after school, safety isn't limited to them. CAA Saskatchewan is reminding adults not to get behind the wheel after drinking or doing drugs.
There is an easy rule to remember, and that's about distracted driving and impaired driving. Make sure you have a safe ride home. Leave your keys at home. Plan ahead.
Game 6 of the World Series between the Toronto Blue Jays and Los Angeles Dodgers is also scheduled during this year's Halloween peak. One of many distractions police encourage drivers and walkers to ignore.
Any type of distraction while you're driving will cause extra risk to the kids. So if you are wanting to stay connected to the game, maybe keep it on the radio and don't have your screen running while you're out there driving.
Among other tips, RPS recommends pedestrians to travel in groups or carry lit-up accessories such as glow sticks.
Hopefully it's mostly treating and not tricking.
So everyone may have a happy Halloween. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
People who are working to make Saskatchewan healthier one breath at a time were honored over the noon hour today. Lung Saskatchewan's Impact Luncheon saw 6 awards handed out and 1 family honored with a bursary in their name. I was honored to serve as today's Master of Ceremonies. All of the people recognized today have made a difference on lung health in the province through their work, by overcoming significant lung challenges, or by volunteering their time to Lung Saskatchewan. Still to come, the Prime Minister looks at options to replace Canada's aging submarine fleet. Also, the Ontario government takes the next steps in an energetic plan that includes Saskatchewan. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. Prime Minister Mark Carney is getting his first look at the South Korean contender to replace Canada's aging submarine fleet. On the margins of the APEC summit, Mark Carney visited the Hanwha shipyard accompanied by South Korea's president. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
This is Hanwha's KSS-3 submarine, launched into the sea just in time for the Prime Minister's visit. Mark Carney climbed down 7 meters to check out what the South Koreans want Canada to buy.
I told him we can build a submarine in 6 years.
The Royal Canadian Navy needs to begin replacing its aging fleet by 2035. Of its 4 submarines, only 1 is operational, the others in maintenance.
It's the only technology in the Navy that guarantees that we control our waters. We get to say who comes into our waters, and if they don't have our permission, then we can keep them out.
Hanwha uses robot technology to build its submarines, which will cost about $2 billion each. It's competing with a German-Norwegian venture. Carney toured TKMS over the summer. Its state-of-the-art vessel is still in production. During a visit to Ottawa last week, the CEO didn't provide a cost estimate.
And of course, we will calculate on a base what the customer wants to have, which capabilities should the submarine have. So for us, I think it's too early to shout out a price range.
The Navy wants to buy 12 new submarines. The successful bid must also benefit Canada.
Factors like industrial benefits for the country, the use of Canadian inputs, materials like steel, the timeliness of the delivery of a submarine, for example, will be important for us.
The federal government says it will choose the winning submarine contractor in 2026, but it could happen earlier. Judy Trin, CTV News, Koje, South Korea.
Ontario's government is taking the next steps toward the potential creation of a new energy corridor and pipeline from Western Canada.
It's a feasibility study. The conversation's just beginning, but we can't wait. We've got to move quickly on all opportunities to build this corridor for a Made in Canada solution. It'll open up the north, and it's good news for all provinces and all territories.
The study will explore the benefits of building oil and gas pipelines from Saskatchewan and Alberta to new and existing refineries in Ontario. The Premier's office says the proposal will unlock new markets for Canada's energy resources while reducing dependence on the United States. Ontario, Alberta, and Saskatchewan have signed onto the proposed project. So far, Manitoba's government has not. An apology today from the Canadian Armed Forces to current and former members who have experienced racial discrimination and harassment while serving. It was delivered by the military's top brass, including the Chief of the Defence Staff. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver was there.
Reuben Coward has been out of the military longer than he was in it, but the trauma after years of painful encounters ranging from racial slurs to being passed over for promotions still affect him and his family.
Until we have people willing to move en masse to dismantle and decolonialize this nonsense, it's going to be a chapter and verse in my granddaughter's life, who's only 6.
But decades after Coward's retirement, military members continue to face racism and sexism on the job.
It was extremely hard because I joined when I was 16 years old.
Jay Day says the first racial slur came early in her 17-year career.
I started to receive a lot of negative comments based on my skin color, based on being a very petite woman as well. And that just trickled into so many other feelings of not really feeling proud to wear the uniform.
Today, the Canadian Armed Forces gathered survivors for a long-awaited apology for the treatment racialized members have faced.
I apologize to every CAF member, veteran who experienced racism, discrimination, and harassment. And I acknowledge we failed you.
An acknowledgement the Chief of Defence Staff says marks both a milestone and a difficult day for the military.
We failed to live up to the values we project and promote around the world every day.
But feelings among veterans today are mixed.
The apology, in my humble opinion, is hollow.
May this apology mark not an end, but a beginning.
The military, which recent reports show is becoming more diverse, says that it is committed to real and lasting change, and that this is one step along that path. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
In the UK, King Charles has stripped his younger brother Andrew of his titles, honors, and his home. The prince has come under increasing pressure over his ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Buckingham Palace says today's decision was made by the king and had the support of the family. Andrew is being evicted from his royal mansion on the Windsor estate and will move to a private accommodation. The palace says the censures are necessary despite the prince continuing to deny the allegations against him. It says their majesties want to make it clear that their thoughts and sympathies will always be with the victims and survivors of all forms of abuse. A change to the national anthem has raised some eyebrows. Rufus Wainwright sang "O Canada" before Game 5 last night at Dodger Stadium in LA, and he switched up the lyrics.
True patriot love that only us command.
The Montreal-raised singer sang "That Only Us Command" instead of "In All of Us Command." Wainwright hasn't commented on the lyric change, but it echoed fellow Canadian Chantal Kraviatzik's protest performance at the Four Nations Face-Off hockey final in Boston in February. She made the same tweak in response to Donald Trump's 51st state comments about Canada.
Hi folks, I'm Don Griffith. I'd like to invite you to the basement this Friday, October 31st, and Saturday, November 1st for Big Dave McLean and the Northern Muddy Tones. It's going to be a night of good times and lots of blues. And get your tickets at thebasement.ca or at the door. And Jeff, while we're at it, what is the temperature going to be on October 31st?
Well, I'll
I'll preface my remarks, Don, by saying it'll be much nicer on Saturday. But tomorrow night, it is going to be a bit cool. But, of course, things will be hot and bluesy at the basement with Big Dave McLean on stage. So let's take a look and see what we've got going on for those actual numbers. Our daytime high tomorrow is going to be just 3 degrees. Cloudy skies on Halloween. And as Don was mentioning, you can go to thebasement.ca to get your tickets. Once again, performances on Friday and Saturday with Big Dave McLean. And now on to our big numbers. We've got ourselves, not so big really, 2 degrees in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, 1 in the Battlefords. And as you can see, still a bit on the breezy side, so it feels a bit of a bite in that wind. And as we take a look at Saskatoon's almanac for today, our daytime high, 3 degrees, so 2 degrees below seasonal. 19, no, that was the record set in 1950. And interestingly enough, the same number and the same date as yesterday, minus 22 in 1991, stands as the record cold temperature for the 30th of October. The sun came up at 7:58 and it went down at 5:42.
Coming up, an educator turned viral sensation, how he turned lyrics into lessons for his students.
Interprovincial trade barriers. Friday on Your Morning, we are in conversation with Saskatchewan's trade minister on their new bill on trade.
All right, look at this. Oh, we're flaring the lens. Look at this. It looks very quite picturesque as we take a look at downtown Saskatoon. We can remind people, that the Broadway Bridge is going to be opening on Saturday, and we'll have more information on that. So there we go. So anyhow, let's take a look and see what we've got going on with our national map. We are expecting a lot in the way of rain for British Columbia. An atmospheric river is making its way towards BC, so it's going to be a soggy Halloween for much of British Columbia. And some of that moisture, at least the moist warm air, is coming our way to warm things up for Saturday. And of course, we're dealing with a lot of your travels are taking you out to Eastern Canada. There's a lot going on there too. Some of the remnants of Melissa will be impacting the East Coast. As we take a look at our numbers, 2 degrees in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, 1 in the Battlefords. The hot spot, Maple Creek at 8, Uranium City, the cold spot at -2. Around the province we go in the larger communities, starting things off. Not much of a temperature range here, basically hanging around that 1 degree mark. On the minus side right now in Swift Current, 2 degrees in Yorkton. Into central parts of the province and Zootalor, not much difference there here either. Temperatures range from 0 degrees in Kindersley, Spiritwood, and Waskesiu up to a balmy 3 degrees, and that is in Hudson Bay. It's 1 in Meadow Lake. And up north, there you go, pretty much a consistent temperature pattern across the province. 0 in Key Lake and Collins Bay, and 2 degrees in both La Ronge and South End. Otherwise, we're looking at 1s. And then down south, hot temperature of 4 degrees in Maple Creek, but it does cool off to 1 in many locations. So it's been a pretty, as I say, consistent temperature pattern, top to bottom, side to side. As we take a look at our futurecast, where you can certainly see those isobar lines, those pressure lines squeezing really close together for BC and Alberta. Not so much for Saskatchewan. So it will be a warm and windy Friday for many parts of Alberta, but that warm air is coming Saskatchewan's way for Saturday. And now on to our, here we go, get that machine working again. Okay, all right. Okay, I didn't pay the power bill. I'm just going to see what's going to happen here. There we go. Let's try the other one. That's right, folks. We got a backup clicker. And okay. Well, I don't know what the problem is right now, but I can certainly tell you that we have got ourselves some, well, conditions that are going to hopefully improve, as I say, for Sunday. There we go. I had to get real close to the Wi-Fi or something. There you go. I'm going to make this quick because Chantel's going to get mad at me because I wasted so much time there. We've got temperatures around 2 or 3 degrees for northern Saskatchewan. For some locations, that's above seasonal. Not much change in temperatures in the west central part of the province. For the southwest, getting up to 9 in Maple Creek, 4 though for Swift Current. In the southeastern part of the province, 2 degrees province. Problem with the clicker. It's spilled over. 2 degrees in Yorkton and Regina, 3 in Moose Jaw and Estevan. And pretty much the same situation for east central Saskatchewan. The Battleford's dropping down to -4 overnight, mainly cloudy conditions tomorrow. And then for Saturday, 11 degrees, 8 8 on Sunday, 7 on Monday, and then we are cooling off a little bit as we head into the latter part of next week. Good chance of some showers changing to flurries overnight, or a slight chance, I should say, -2 degrees. Cloudy skies for Prince Albert area on Halloween, and just 2 degrees to 8 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, starting off the work week, though, with sunshine and 7 degrees. And Saskatoon's overnight temperature -3 degrees, slight chance of flurries and showers, less windy conditions, 3 degrees tomorrow for the high. And then as we take a look at the long-range forecast, 13 big degrees on Saturday, 9 on Sunday and Monday, and still above seasonal for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, even though Thursday comes with a slight chance of showers. The Halloween tradition continues. Friday night, the Broadway Theatre will have 2 screenings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. One show at 7 and another at 11. Bring your props and get ready to do the time warp again.
Wouldn't have left you over the night. Wouldn't have done that to you.
What happened here? How did you manage to be here? How did you get out?
The spooky season continues until Sunday at the Ramey Arts Centre. Persephone Theatre's gothic horror tale, The Woman in Black, is directed by Joshua Beaudry and stars Matthew Burgess and Jonathan Pickrell. Elliott Brood and Great Lake Swimmers bring their Ballads and Badlands tour to the Capitol Music Club on Saturday. Doors open at 8.
I hear the news, I feel the blues, I feel my heart when it beats for you.
Little Miss Higgins returns to the basement on Sunday evening. Showtime is 7:30.
Evangelical pop culture can be really strange to those who didn't grow up with it. And recognizing that the culture you grew up in seems strange to others makes you ask questions.
My Little Plastic Jesus, written and performed by Tim Bratton, is on tour and can be seen November 5th in Biggar, November 6th in Prince Albert, and November 7th in Saskatoon. Visit the website for more details. Your Honor, I object to boredom. The Saskatoon Soaps are pulling on their legal briefs to present Disorder in the Court, Friday, November 7th, 8 o'clock at the Broadway Theatre.
All right, Jeff, you were out finding out about an important deadline earlier today.
A deadline that's attached to winning. The heat is on. That's why we're at 3 Hall. And with me, Shane from the Saskatoon Kinsmen Club. You're the past president, but you are the chair of the 50-50 committee. So for people who aren't familiar, this is a relatively new thing for the Kinsmen Club.
Yeah, absolutely. In the spring, we ran our first campaign, and now we are into our second campaign as we've shifted away from the home lottery and into this 50-50 campaign. We've seen a lot of great support from the community, and we're really looking forward to see how this one turns out.
And we've got a deadline coming up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, so the final deadline for this one is going to be November 1st at midnight.
Okay.
But, you know, between now and then, we've also got a $2,500 prize to give away and a $5,000 prize to give away.
All right, so there's a lot of money to be won with the 50-50 lottery, and we'll find out in a second or two about where people can get their tickets. But for people who don't know, there's a number of different things that the Kinsmen Club funds in this city and helps out. Are there a few that you would have time to mention?
You know, in broad strokes, I can talk a little bit about it because really Kinsmen believes in the power of play to affect change. So whether that means kids playing sports that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to, or even kids getting to play music. You know, we're supporters of a number of different sports leagues, but also Saskatoon Music Festival. We've been giving away scholarships for years and involved in different creative endeavors, and whether that be some theater, their theater in the park, or that's, you know, putting on art. A lot of those things that we get into.
That's fantastic. Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg with regard to how the Kinsmen helps our community. Now you can help them. Where do people get those tickets?
Kinsmen5050lottery.com. Again, that's Kinsmen5050lottery.com. You can get your tickets there. They start at $20, and there will be packages that go up. When you buy one of the larger packages, you also get a coupon for the 3 Hall here. Great supporters of the club, great supporters of the community. So buy now and get in for some big prizes.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Shane.
All All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. Anything Halloween-y yet?
Well, the answer is yes. And we're going to start off with a Halloween-y one right now. This comes to us from Lisa, and she says, Happy Halloween. A few pumpkins I painted this year to greet the trick-or-treaters. A nice job there. There you go. We got some Day of the Dead things going on there. So a nice job there. Thank you, Lisa. This next one comes to us from Joan Almond, and she says, caught this shot between Schneider's and Guerrero's home run, which didn't give me much time. So, yes, thanks, Joe, for getting that lovely sky shot there. And finally, a couple here from Allison Bartlett. I took this picture of a great sunset on October 29th, in other words, last night. It mirrored the artwork I was working on called Blue Jays. I knew then they would win that night. And here comes the piece of artwork she's been working on. There you go. So she said there was a certain level of kismet there. So Allison, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your artwork. That is beautiful. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by talking to this guy, because he knows all about this thing called Pick of the Day.
Actually, this guy knows all about fine-tuning the educational experience. We'll show you how the professor is using pop sensation to get his pupils engaged. A professor from Western University in London, Ontario, made quite an impression with his students and the internet. A video of his recent chemistry lesson turned pop performance has gone viral. With more on that, here's Rita Ismail.
This is not Ed Sheeran, but rather educator Derek McLaughlin, a professor at Western University who's now become a viral sensation.
It's a little surreal. I mean, it's strange.
The video of Professor McLaughlin singing during a lecture on ketones has amassed more than 1 million views on social media platform TikTok.
I recorded it. It was a usual lecture on Thursday night, and I posted it right before going to bed. Then overnight, it blew up. It got like 1.4 million views.
McLaughlin says he's always looking for creative ways to engage students, often by setting course material to songs they already know and love.
This particular song, it had a line about, you know, I'm in love with your body, and I have a lecture on ketone bodies, and I thought that worked well, so then I just created the song from there.
The musical remix has struck a chord with his students.
When he first started singing, I was like really shocked because I wasn't like expecting that, but the whole class started to get into it, and we started to like sing along with him, clap with him, and it was super exciting.
A lot of classes, you kind of don't have stuff to remember those things by when you're in the exam, but having someone who puts that extra effort to make songs for you, do interactive things for you, it really is inspiring and helps me memorize and do better on exams.
McLaughlin has been teaching for more than 2 decades and says this isn't the first time he's brought music into his lectures.
I use humor. I tell some personal stories in class to make that sense of connection with the students, because then I think they're more ready to learn if they feel like you're a person that, you know, they're connected to.
Although he's not a professional singer, McLaughlin says his background in piano lessons and high school plays helps him bring a bit of performance to the classroom. And while his chemistry class may not land him a record deal anytime soon, it's clear this Western professor has found the right formula for learning. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
When we come back, a couple of riders recognized for their efforts, and later a creepy castle celebrating the spook of the season.
All right, welcome back, and let's take a look at our rural forecast. We've got ourselves mainly sunny skies for Meadow Lake and Lloydminster and Kindersley, but temperatures around 4 degrees. So those are a little off seasonal, and it doesn't get that much warmer as we make our way towards the eastern side of the province. Temperatures generally around that 1 or 2 degree mark. Making our way south, well, does it warm up substantially? Well, not substantially, but it is warmer in the southwestern corner. 9 degrees for Maple Creek, 7 in Leader, 6 in East End, but then things drop off and basically in and around that 2 or 3 degree mark for most other locations in and around the Trans-Canada. So it's a cold holiday. I know it's not a national holiday, but it's a cold holiday in terms of Halloween. But mainly sunny skies for Paradise Hill. 3 degrees, winds out of the southeast to 15. So the good news is we're not anticipating a windy day tomorrow. So you will have to maybe not have to put on a jacket over top the costume, but maybe an extra layer underneath it. So keep that in mind. And Paradise Hill is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
2 Saskatchewan Roughriders are up for individual accolades. Head coach Corey Mace and offensive lineman Jamarcus Hardrick will represent the Green and White at next month's CFL Awards Night. Jacob Carr reports.
For the second year in a row, Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace is the West Division nominee for the CFL's Coach of the Year.
I think most coaches would tell you we would look at that as a team award, an organizational award. Man, so much goes into it. Humble just to represent the organization.
Also, for the second straight season, Mace will be going up against Montreal Alouettes head coach Jason Moss, who won the award last year. While Mace might not give himself any praise, his players will do so for him.
We have tons of fun, but he commands a lot of respect, and he's quite the coach. I'm very, very happy that I've had the opportunity to play football for him and be on his team, and he's a very deserving, and I think it'd be surprised if he didn't win it.
Riders right tackle Jamarcus Hardrick is the West nominee for Most Outstanding Offensive Lineman, an award he won in 2023 while with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Personal level, means a lot coming off an injury, getting back there, didn't do it alone. Guys beside me, the coaches, sprint staff, everyone, but it means a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Hardrick had to miss the majority of the 2024 season, his first with the Riders, due to a quad injury, admitting the recovery process was tough and makes the nomination that much more special.
A little bit on FaceTime with my wife last night. We teared up a little bit, just the time she had to pick me up, put me in a truck, trying to get my degrees back on my leg. I was having good days and I had setbacks. I was like, man, it was never going to happen.
The CFL Awards will be handed out November 13th as part of Grey Cup Week in Winnipeg. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
2 more of the Magnificent 7 companies reported results today. Marilla Fernandez with those details.
Amazon and Apple reported earnings after the end of the trading day. Let's start with the iPhone maker. iPhone revenue for the quarter was above $49 billion U.S. The company's getting a boost from its new model, iPhone 17, only introduced last month. Still, Apple narrowly missed the estimate, but analysts aren't too concerned. Amazon reported a strong performance for its web services. Revenue came in above $33 billion for the quarter. That's a 20% improvement from last year. The earnings report sent shares climbing in after-hours trading. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.49. West Texas Intermediate crude slightly up to 60.57. Western Canadian Select is up to 48.19, and the TSX gained 34 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just over $1.30 a liter. That is down. The lowest price in town, $1.19.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $1.46.49, and Nutrien was down $2.70. Coming up, scaring up spooky scenes at a haunted castle. Then a yard that's been pirated again this year.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV.
911 Nashville. It's going to be a flood of cliches. There you go.
All right, moving on. An Edmonton family is taking Halloween to the next level.
The wind howled and the bats swore.
This haunted castle stands on the front lawn of Dave and Tammy Iwanek's home. It took the couple 7 weeks to build and to decorate. The castle is more than 6 meters long and 3 meters high. They're asking trick-or-treaters for food bank donations to enter. Very impressive.
Very, very impressive. And I'm wondering, I'm hoping it's the kind of thing that can get dismantled and then put up again.
I would think so.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Definitely. Speaking of wild, from castles to pirate ships, one couple has mastered the art of Halloween.
Who goes there?
Tom and Patty Blackstone have been putting together pirate-themed Halloween displays for the past 7 years outside their home in West Bend, Wisconsin. The ship opens up into their garage to show a below-deck scene, which features skeleton pirates. It also has working canyons, which they say the kids...
Working cannons?
Yes.
Okay.
They say the kids stopping for Halloween care about more than the candy.
Well, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Our cheddarheads, they love the pirates.
I volunteered you to go work for them next year, if you don't mind.
You fine. I can take that. Can I take the CTV Learjet again?
No, you can take the hot air balloon, though. I booked it out for you.
The CTV hot air balloon. We'll see if the wind is right and make it all the way to Wisconsin.
Maybe. It's been windy this week.
America's Dairyland, I figure. Just
fun facts here tonight. Can you fix the forecast for tomorrow?
No, but I can do a butter sculpture.
Oh, we'll take a better forecast.
All right, okay.
Thanks for watching.
Butter.